So have you ever experienced being on a good streak in life? You're waking up early, going to the gym, procrastinating less, and you seem to be on top of things. But one day, something comes up, and before you know it, you end up back at square one. The alarm goes off, and instead of getting up, you stay in bed mindlessly scrolling through TikTok and Instagram. You know you should hit the gym, but you push it off for another day. You start to hate yourself because you ruined that good streak you were on, and you might as well give up now because you can't go back to how things were before. Well, just like you, I've been through many cycles of being productive and then falling behind on healthy habits, and in this video, I'm going to share with you the cure to this by revealing to you the 8 deadly habits that are keeping you weak and how you can overcome each and every one of them. Starting with the #1 worst habit, and that is being addicted to social media. First of all, it's no secret social media is designed to be addictive and to try to make you spend as much time as possible on their apps. Think about it like this. Every time you get a like on your photo, or you watch that Instagram reel, or you receive a message from a friend, or even the worst of them all, seeing Instagram models and thirst traps, you get hit with dopamine, which makes your brain crave even more. If you're one of those people thinking, look, Brian, social media isn't that bad, what is the big deal here? Well, let me tell you, a lot of the root problems that many people are dealing with in this life start with this one bad habit. Whether it's being constantly distracted or not being able to focus because you're always task switching to your phone, or even more than that, if you're unable to ever get the full 8 hours of sleep your body needs because you keep yourself up late at night just scrolling through TikTok and Instagram. Social media leads to more problems than you would ever know, and to overcome this, there's a few things that you can do. 1, go cold turkey, delete it from your phone and commit. The other option, if you can't do that, is to use social media in moderation and with intention. Personally, for me, I prefer the latter of using social media with intention because I do know that the flip side, social media also has its range of benefits, and pair that up with a few more tips, such as every time you pick up your phone, ask yourself why you're picking it up. Most of the time you pick up your phone, it's just out of habit to just open Instagram and check what kind of dopamine hit that you can get for that day. Another thing I personally do is delete the app off my phone. So if I'm using TikTok or Instagram way too much and I see that screen time going up, I'll make sure to just take it off my phone. And if I do need to use it for business purposes, I'll go ahead and use my laptop or even my iPad. To pair that up though, here are some of the biggest tips. Be a creator and not a consumer. If you're gonna use social media to consume, use it to at least inspire, motivate, or educate you. Another option to help break you from your social media addiction is if you happen to have an older iPhone lying around that's much more slower than the newer updated Pro Max versions, go ahead, delete all the original apps off your main phone and then put them all on your older device. Now, if you don't have an old iPhone lying around, that's okay too, because there's another option and something that I've done. If I go ahead and triple tap the lock button, 1, 2, 3. Everything on here just turned gray. This is one way to reduce the amount of dopamine that you get because your phone doesn't look as appealing. To do this, it's actually really simple. Go into your phone settings and type in accessibility shortcut. You'll go here and then you just turn on color filters, then go into color filters, open that up, turn this guy on, and then make sure grayscale is turned on. And that way, if you triple tap, just like that, all the colors are going off. The second bad habit that is keeping so many people weak is having an addiction to corn. Guys, obviously, no, we're not talking about the corn that you eat, the corn on the cob, but we're talking about, well, the other type of corn you know. Look, we are living right now in an entirely new generation with access to technology that wasn't around even just a few years back, but this habit is nothing but bad for your mind, body, and soul. Much like what we experience with using social media, getting dopamine hits there, or eating high amounts of sugar versus seeing the amount of dopamine that corn can release, it is by far the highest on the chart. Here's the truth, no matter how much of this habit you do, it will never leave you feeling satisfied. You will always feel unfulfilled. If you used to consume adult content for 1 hour, you'll get to a point where it won't be enough anymore and it'll feel normal to you. And even after that, you may consume it for hours and hours over time, taking the content you watch to another degree because the old stuff becomes numb and it just doesn't do it for you anymore. This is the true pandemic that's especially affecting younger men right now. And for anyone who started out just watching for free, next thing you'll know, you have a OnlyFans subscription, and then you take that to another step level where, and guys, I need to drop this note here. By the way, I just have absolutely no respect for anyone who has an OnlyFans subscription. The whole idea of the fact that you're paying girls that will never know who you are, where that money could have been better spent given to your, struggling parents or saved for your own future, I just find it pretty pathetic. But it's not the fact that you have this addiction here, but it's the issues that come from this. Constantly feeling that brain fog, losing confidence, having social anxiety, having less energy, having the inability to focus, having less time, getting depression, and having a lack of self-worth. It's not only the invention of virtual reality and AI that makes this scary, but it's also the booming economics of what women are making right now in this industry, where I project this to get way worse from here. Luckily, there is a solution. The fact is, at some point, you're gonna need to have a serious talk with yourself and you're gonna have to stop. Right now, there are plenty of resources and communities such as NoFap or YourBrainOnCorn.com. Talk to someone about this that you trust, have an accountability partner, and going back to the first bad habit I mentioned, a lot of it actually begins with social media. In our day-to-day life, we don't see women like we do on apps like on TikTok and on Instagram. I see Instagram and TikTok and some of this social media being the gateway for you to start falling prey to this dangerous habit. So whether you delete the app or you unfollow any girls that you don't actually know in real life, take action. More than that, if you find that you're taking action and you're trying your best to avoid these things, but it still comes to you, flee. Now, personally for me as a Christian, I get a lot of my beliefs coming from the Bible, and it doesn't matter if you're religious or not, but this is stated in 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 18. Flee from sexual immorality, and all other sins a person commits are outside the body, but whoever sins sexually sins against their own body. That verse doesn't tell people to just walk away or to, casually ignore whatever comes to them, but it says to flee. Fleeing means to actually run out or to do something completely different. Or in this modern day of age, I think it's going to the gym or hanging out with good company or going to a coffee shop, and instead of scrolling and thirsting on OnlyFans, for you to be working on your business and making money instead. This here is a true problem. I believe it's only going to get worse, and that is why it's so important that we need to have leaders stepping up now in order to set the tone to make sure that we can help younger generations of people who may get stuck in this addiction. Now, the third habit that is literally killing millions upon millions of people is the habit of ignoring your physical health. We all know the fundamental importance of both eating healthy and getting daily exercise, but yet it seems like it's something that a lot of people still struggle with. Think of it like this. Imagine going through life doing all your daily activities and errands with a 45-pound weighted vest. How would you feel? How much more tired would you be? How much more would your back hurt when you're wearing all that extra weight? I know for me, if I'm wearing a 45-pound extra weighted vest, I wouldn't want to be incentivized to go outdoors for a walk, let alone go for a nice run. In the year of 2023, it's not men who are wearing 45-pound weighted vests, but instead we're all carrying around extra loads of fat, and it's making people feeling less confident. They're feeling more weak and less motivated. I believe if you spend some time to get yourself in good, healthy shape, that different aspects of your life also start coming together. As most of my OG subscribers know, exercising is one of the many things that I constantly look forward to, and I've been working out since about 6th grade. Whenever I'm feeling burnt out, exhausted, or work seems to get the best of me, I know that if I get a good workout in, it can completely change my energy. There's also a phrase, health is wealth, and there's no point in making millions and getting that dream car if you can barely get in and out of it. To start this habit, here's some tips. Get a workout partner, and I'm telling you, this helps out a ton because in the beginning, when I was way more frail, I was afraid to go to the gym. I actually had initially started my journey by building a bench press in my parents' basement, and from there I started working out. I tried to get the fundamentals, and then once I had built up the courage to go to a real gym, I had asked a few of my friends if I could work out with them. If a gym lifestyle is not for you, that's okay, because right now there's a ton of resources for you to join a club or intramural sport. Something I practice every other week is to do something new physically. This involves maybe going out rock climbing or trying, even I've done a Pilates class. Don't judge me, that stuff is actually really hard. To going ahead, trying my first F45 class, to trying my first boxing class. I mean, I've tried a lot of this random stuff, and let me tell you, it is always so great for me to try something new, get that brain plasticity working in my head, and to also just have a great workout at the end of the day with other people who might be beginners as well. For those who know me best, I've also been playing rugby for about the last 9 years, and some of the best memories I ever had was playing on the pitch with my boys, and I'm so grateful because it made me a lot happier. I was able to build a lot of the characteristics who made me into the person I am today, whether it's leadership, teamwork. It's really all these things And by putting myself out there, that allowed me to improve myself physically, which I think had a direct impact on how I was able to achieve a lot of the goals that I have. So you don't need to be powerlifting, 500 pounds on the bench press tomorrow, but I'm saying just get yourself in a gym, try to keep yourself healthy. And most importantly, other than exercise, eating, diet is about 80% of that. So make sure that you're not eating junk food all the time, but eat clean, healthy food so you stay right in the mind. Now, this next bad habit that is killing you is going to be smoking weed and drinking alcohol. Now, I know this one here might be a little bit controversial because, there are a select few individuals out here in the world that can perform and do a lot of great accomplishments for the world while consuming these drugs and while they're still drinking. But I will say people like Joe Rogan or even Elon Musk or anyone that you might idolize, it's one in a few. The reality is that for majority of men, weed, alcohol, and other drugs are holding you back from becoming a better and stronger individual. Here's my thoughts. If smoking weed could make you a little bit more lazy, if it could make you a bit more relaxed where you don't want to do anything, or it makes you more inclined to just soak into your couch and sit there for a few hours not doing anything, I believe it's working against you. And I don't think this is a habit that's going to make you a better person. On the other hand, we have alcohol, which has literally been known to mankind as being poison. When it comes to alcohol, it is fact, it is proven, it creates disease, and it can also alter your mind. And when you're drunk, you can be saying things that you shouldn't say, you could be doing things that you shouldn't do, and it's literally classified as a textbook depressant. Alcohol was made to slow you down. Now look, when it comes to alcohol, it won't kill you overnight, but I think the single-handedly worst thing about drinking is the fact that you're susceptible to hangovers. And the way I see it is if you lose one day of productivity and you do that every single weekend, it doesn't just kill your momentum for that one day, but whenever you bring momentum to a complete stop, you actually need to take even more days to build up to a fraction of where you were before. So think of an example like this. Say you are an absolute unit, all right? You're a Mustang going down the highway at 95 miles an hour. You drink something that you're not supposed to, that car comes to a stop. In order for you to get back to 95 miles per hour on the highway, you need to start spending few days getting to 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 miles an hour. You need to build back up to that time. Look, I've been there, I've done that, and I'm not 100% against alcohol, but my point here is that everything must be done in moderation. Even during the pandemic, I had a little whiskey moment in my life, and I remember I was on Reddit and I was on YouTube watching whiskey review videos, ordering $100 bottles from Japan. Let me tell you, it was something I looked forward to because I would start drinking every day after work, but the issue was I work about 6 days a week. I was pretty much drinking more days than I wasn't. If drinking alcohol is something that you do daily or even weekly, I can see this could be an issue very fast. If you're having a hard time cutting this going cold turkey, I know that alcohol is often a product of social peer pressure, so stop going out and hanging out with the same group of friends, separate yourself and be different. On top of that, I recently hosted my own little mastermind at my house with several of my other friends who happen to be creators, and we're all making millions of dollars, okay? This is not just an ordinary group of friends, but we are very successful in what we do within the world of business. And there was one thing I realized that we all did. We didn't really drink. Every time we went out for dinner, none of us was craving a drink like I can expect some of my other friends to do. Whether that's just a coincidence or not, I do think there is some type of pattern here, seeing some of the best successful people, seeing the people that are the best versions of themselves and not constantly being drunk. Now, the fifth bad habit that you need to cut out and that you need to start prioritizing today is to get enough high quality sleep. At a young age, children are always taught about the importance of sleep for school, getting good grades, having a strong immune system, getting better brain development, and even growing physically. While all that is still true, sleep is just as important for adults as you grow older and older. It turns out though, a study conducted by Forbes shows that the typical American adult now sleeps about 5 to 6 hours a night, with 40% getting even less than that. If you compare these numbers to 1910, where Americans were averaging 8 to 9 hours of sleep, you might be wondering, how come we're getting less and less sleep as our country progresses? Well, this could be a variety of reasons. It could be the internet, it could be the introduction to iPhones and other addictive technologies, but just because we're sleeping less, it doesn't mean that sleeping is any less important. Studies have shown that there are many physical and cognitive advantages to getting a full 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Or on the other side, if you get bad sleep, you can see weight gain, you can get fatigue, you can get lack of emotional control, like mood swings, you can have low testosterone, you can have slow reaction time, you can have memory issues, weakened immunity. For anyone who lives constantly sleep deprived, you can see it physically on them. Even to fix this habit, it really goes back to habit number one. I believe a majority of the reason why people struggle with getting good sleep is because they're so addicted to their phone. Cut these habits out, reduce that screen time. And by the way, a great book recommendation I have for you is that if you're looking to improve the quality of your sleep or learn more about the importance of getting enough sleep, check out Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. Now, the next bad habit that you need to cut out is going to be related to playing video games. Now, look, this is not going to be accounting for people who are playing video games and they're able to make money, or they're, growing a YouTube channel, they're streaming on Twitch. I'm here talking to the guys who are playing Call of Duty every single night and they're terrible. They got like a 0.01 KD, but they decide to do it anyways. The cold hard truth is that if you're playing video games, you're not streaming, you're not making money, then you are just simply wasting your time and it's affecting your ability to become a better version of yourself. Instead of playing video games, there are so many other things that you can do in this life, such as building a business, getting exercise, or even just going outdoors and touching some of that grass. On top of that, video games right now are messing up so many dopamine receptors. Anytime you level up, you finish a campaign, you defeat an opponent, you get some type of achievement, you're getting dopamine, but all of this is artificial. You're not actually doing anything in real life. By playing video games, you're tricking your brain into believing that you're a high-performing achiever, where you're, getting 30 different wins within a Call of Duty match, but in reality, you could be someone who's very overweight, who's not really accomplished much, and they're headed towards a downward path. Every time you're playing a video game, just ask yourself this: does this really matter? And is this moment something that I'm going to remember 50 years from now? On the other hand, I will say that I grew up playing a lot of video games. I was an OG PS2 nerd. I used to play Dragon Ball Z, Tekken Tag, Ratchet and Clank. I mean, you name it, I played a lot of video games and it was so crazy. I remember like even one of the games, the Kingdom Hearts that I used to play, I had begged my parents to buy me like the full guidebook on how to beat the game and know all about the characters. So this is really coming from firsthand experience. If you're someone who loves video games just as much as I do, use it as a reward. Use it in moderation. So instead of playing it as an addictive person every single day, say, okay, I'll play it, at the end of the week if I'm able to accomplish X or Y. The next bad habit that I see a lot of people struggling with is being way too emotional. It feels like almost culture has this whole idea where it's okay to have your emotions all out in the world and it's okay to be angry and to speak your mind. And I believe with a message like that, people get it the wrong way and they start focusing on things outside of their control and they're fixating more on the negativity. People end up allowing more external factors to affect how they are with their peace. Look, ladies and gents, we're living in a culture right now where we're more divided than ever before. People are getting so offended by anything that you might even just look at. If someone said something to you that you don't like, don't let this affect your day and don't let it stop you from doing what you need to do to accomplish and to seize the moment. You have to learn that you can't control what people say or do to you and that you can only control your own response. Now, the other day, I was driving through Bethesda, Maryland, and I saw this RAV4 swerving in and out of the lanes. Now, at first thought, I thought this was someone who had known someone and they were catching up to say what's up to him, but I quickly realized that wasn't the case because I was here, the car was pulling up, and as soon as they had passed me, I saw 4 kids in that car and they were actually throwing food at everyone else. I went ahead and I saw midair a piece of cheese just flying and it smacks my car, and then a couple other pieces of food. They just start whacking it and throwing it and hitting my vehicle. Now look guys, if you know me, you know that I love my cars, and I especially love the car I was driving that day, which was a twin turbo gas guzzling V8 named Greta. And yes, it was named Greta after Greta Thunberg. An old version of me would have handled that situation so very differently. This new version and what I try to practice these days, I realized quickly there's no point. For me, it's a lot easier to just accept and to move on rather than tailing them, trying to get them to pull over, and I'm in a terrible situation, like 4 kids who don't know what they're doing with their life and me upset because they threw a piece of cheese at my car. The whole point here is this: if it's something out of my control or something happens to me, I just try to think about how fortunate I am to be in the position I'm in currently. And let me say, if any of us has the ability to walk or to breathe or to see or to hear, I mean, if we have just our body parts that are working naturally, I think right now we are doing better than most people. Now, one of my favorite exercises that I use in order to be less emotional is just these two things. First of all, breathe. I know when a lot of people tend to get heated, you feel it first physically within your body. The second thing, mentally, accept it. Whatever emotion you're feeling, I think of it as an orb. And I think of Naruto in this instance and put it in a box. Put it in a box separate away from you. And just by doing that, you realize I am not angry, but you can observe the emotion and be like, all right, I see that anger right there, but I know that ain't me. Trust me, I know it sounds crazy, but I've been doing that for a long time. It's helped me a lot too. There was a version of Brian, Angy little Brian, he definitely existed, and sometimes I gotta still tame that beast. Now, ladies and gents, the last bad habit that you need to fix today is procrastination. So just think about it like this. You wanna go to the gym today, but you know you're gonna put it off for another couple hours, or you're gonna put it off till the next day or even the next week. You've been telling yourself you wanna start that business, you're ready to start that business, but you're waiting for the right time and you're still not doing it. By being in the curse of, I'll do this tomorrow, I'll tell you this, it only becomes harder and harder to start. The reason I have this habit as my last one on my list is because procrastination is a habit that also affects all other habits. I also believe if you can eliminate this habit from your life, you will instantly become a doer and have even more success than you're experiencing now. So the quickest way to stop procrastination and to put it in its tracks is to just begin. As an example, if you're watching this video here today, it means you're doing better than most because, you know, the viewer retention for some of these videos usually goes down by like 80% towards the latter half. So I'll give you some actionable tips. These are like practice steps. First of all, comment down below how this video that you watched today made you take initiative. Another thing you can do is to drop in your email if you want to join my newsletter on more tips and tricks like this. You also want to make sure that you can take a moment to write down 3 things or open up the app section on your phone, put down those 3 things and make sure that you accomplish it. So if you're dealing with procrastination, here are 2 things that have helped me tremendously. So one of my favorite books by David Allen called Getting Things Done talks about the 2-minute rule. If you can do an action in 2 minutes or less, tackle it at that moment and don't delay. For me, I get in the habit of doing certain things and then I get carried away at the task. An example is I get a lot of dishes that pile up in my dishwasher and I don't put them away, or I get laundry, I put them in the wash, but I never end up folding it, so I just get a huge pile of completed laundry. If you know that you can do it quick, just do it. Just put the dishes away, or if you know it's gonna take 15 minutes, set an intentional time to complete that task. This leads into the next thing, which is setting smaller goals and having a checklist. So every single day, I've done this without failure for the last 4 to 5 years, which is writing down a task I need to do and completing it. Now, this could be as small as ordering some extra laundry detergent from Amazon, but I always have a list of tasks that I need to do within my phone. I check it off every single day, and usually from that, I build up daily increments of momentum, which allows me to accomplish even stronger things. So if one of your goals is to start a business, literally make sure you write down all the things that you need to get done that day, and then put on the upcoming task list of what you need to do to start that business. A lot of people look at, creating content, starting a business as like the hardest thing ever. And let me tell you, it ain't easy. And the hardest thing is often just starting, but there's a lot more harder things in life than actually picking up and starting your own business. To give you even more encouragement, let me tell you this. I know some millionaires who are really not that smart, and I will tell you, you are way more capable of the guy who's making tens of millions of dollars right now. The difference is he's taking action and he's not overwhelmed by procrastination. So if you learned something from this episode, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more content. Follow me over on Twitter and on Instagram if you haven't done so already. Also, if you guys want to go ahead and join my newsletter on more tips and tricks when it comes to business, ideas, or even ways to improve your own life, check that out, link down below in the description. Take that action, ladies and gents, and I'll see y'all soon. Peace.